This weapon is disgusting. Not because of its weapon type, visual design, or intended 5-star user, but because of its unbelievable, unfathomable, and absolutely unethical amount of crit rate. With a main stat bonus that's equivalent to roughly 1 3/4 maxed out crit rate for cost echoes, this weapon at a baseline makes almost no sense at all. When you factor in the absurdly versatile conditions of its weapon effect and its incredible efficiency on pretty much every rectifier user in the game, there is no doubt in my mind at all when I say that this is likely the best limited 5-star weapon in the game. It's so good, in fact, that even if you're spending resources like Astrite or real-life money to get your hands on this weapon, you'll likely end up saving a lot more in the long run across other resources when it comes to your account's progression. Kuro might have messed up when designing this weapon. It is so powerful and versatile that it makes many other 5-star weapons feel far more limited and in turn less valuable. What need was there to pull Zhezha's weapon if you already had Yinlin's? Some might live by the philosophy that you never need to pull limited weapons, just characters. But when a weapon is so good that it makes the gameplay experience for every future user a lot better, it's easy to make the argument for why this weapon should be on every player's account. Today we'll be breaking down why this is the case, diving into the incredible benefits provided just from Stringmaster's stat allocation, what makes it the indisputable best in slot or second best option for almost every single rectifier user in the game, and why it stands at the pinnacle of value compared to every other limited 5-star weapon in the game. If you're somebody who enjoys playing Wuthering Waves, this weapon genuinely only makes the experience better. As always, if you're enjoying this content, please hit that like and subscribe button. A huge part of why people pull 5-star weapons in the first place is based off the incredible base stats they provide. With the highest base attacks in the game, these weapons greatly improve the effectiveness of every percentage attack boost you'll find across the game, such as bonuses from your healer, buffs from your echo sets, and even the stats on your echoes themselves. While there are many limited 5-star weapons that have higher base attacks than Stringmaster, the attack on Stringmaster is still significantly higher than every 4-star weapon, making it an immediate upgrade for every player that doesn't have the standard 5-star. But there are some other massive benefits that Stringmaster provides. In exchange for this lowered base attack, Stringmaster comes paired with the most critical stats possible out of any weapon. And when that stat is in crit rate instead of crit damage, what this means is that any rectifier user equipping this weapon has a lot more freedom when it comes to their echo building, including their substats, and perhaps most importantly, the experience and tuners they'll be using to get them. This is 36% crit rate. If it wasn't immediately clear how insane this is, let's talk a bit about how you can actually gain this stat in Wuthering Waves. Your character skills, 4-cost echoes, and echo substats are the only ways outside of your weapon to gain crit rate in this game. A substat roll on your echoes can be as low as 6.3%. Assuming that you get this worst case scenario on all of your pieces, which seems to be shockingly common, at least according to my echoes, Stringmaster alone can provide more critical rate to your character than 5 entire echoes worth of substats. Let that sink in. By having this much crit rate tied to the weapon, any rectifier DPS can easily skip a critical rate substat, or even 2, and still have a very consistent crit rate over 70%, especially if you're using it on a character with built-in stats on their skill tree. When one of the biggest struggles for any player looking to clear endgame content or simply make their characters more satisfying to play is the echo substat grind and the balancing of critical stats, pulling Stringmaster effectively limits how badly RNG can screw you over. All of those pieces with insane crit damage or ability damage rolls, but no crit rate, are now far more viable. And what that means is less experience tubes, tuners, and perhaps most importantly, recycled echoes as you build your roster. If you're a player looking to min-max your characters, Stringmaster provides the stats you need to make it happen. And if you're a player who simply builds characters characters to the points where they can clear endgame content without necessarily min-maxing, all Stringmaster does is help you get to that point a lot faster and far more efficiently. It's truly a win-win, no matter what type of player you are. The flexibility provided by Stringmaster's crit rate alone might have been enough for people to justify pulling it, even if it had an overly specific weapon skill like Jeja's. That's not very applicable to a lot of characters. Fortunately, this weapon came equipped with quite possibly the most widely usable weapon skill in the game. It's easier finding the one character it's unusable on than the ones it's best in slot or the second best option for. That's how good this effect is. By providing a general attribute damage buff and a general attack buff on using a resonance skill, which every character has, this weapon skill is guaranteed to have an impact on every rectifier user in the game unless they don't scale with attack. It also has an attack boost while off-field, which might seem overly specific at first, but this isn't the case in actual use. Every single DPS rectifier in the game, for some reason, synergizes fantastically with this weapon's effects. It's no surprise that Yinlin works fantastically with this weapon. It's her signature after all. Her multiple casts of her resonance skill and tremendous off-field damage through her Forte circuit make use of all its effects. On the other hand, Encore has a built-in resonance skill reset across her kit and absurdly short cooldowns on the ability in her liberation, granting her full use of the attack buff. She even has synergy with the weapon's off-field attack bonus when combined with her Forte circuit's delayed explosion. This weapon is so good and so powerful that it turns Encore into one of the best DPS characters in the game, a standard banner character. On the third hand, Jeja is another character with repeated resonance skill casts baked into her kit's mechanics, and is another character that benefits heavily from the off-field attack boost with her coordinated attacks. And Verena? This weapon actually unlocks her potential with a sub-DPS build if that's something that piques your interest. The sky is the limit when it comes to this weapon's synergy with the existing roster, and this value can only grow as the number of rectifier users grow as well. However, this incredible value and versatility is a double-edged sword. It's a huge benefit to players, but in my opinion, a bit bad for Kuro. A contributing factor to Jeja's poor sales was likely the fact that if you had Yinlin's signature, Jeja's was not really worth pulling at all. With Stringmaster's overall DPS extremely comparable to her signature, combined with the massive crit rate that led to easier echo farming and gearing, it could be argued that pulling Jeja's weapon and spending the resources to level it up would have been a net loss to your account if you already had Stringmaster. And when you consider the fact that Jeja's weapon is usable on only one other character, and that character actually performs better on Stringmaster, that's a rough time for revenue. Stringmaster is Kuro Games' gift to the player base. If there was only one limited weapon you could ever pull in this game, my recommendation is that you pull Stringmaster. This weapon provides convenience, power, and value in ways that no other limited 5-star weapon could ever dream of. We may never see a signature like this ever again. As always, if you enjoyed this content, please hit that like and subscribe button. Peace out.